Hi, my name is Jeff Sayre, one of the founders of Sayre Brothers Games. Today is a day we get to unbox our next generation of prototypes. We've worked very hard at iterating prototype number 3 for the PentaHex game board unit, and we have it in this box right here. This time we've used Sculpteo as our 3D service company, printing service company. And the reason we did that is just to try out a different company. We don't have an allegiance to one or the other yet. We tried Shapeways before. We were very happy with them. Their customer service was excellent. They delivered, under-promised and over-delivered. In other words, the products came sooner than they said they would. The same thing happened with Sculpteo. The interesting thing with Sculpteo is not only did the products arrive sooner than they said they would, they also have, I think, more innovative, more current ways of communicating with their clients. For instance, when the product was done printing and shipped, I received a text message as well as an email. So it was nice to also have that instant contact via my smartphone that our prototypes were literally on their way. Also with Sculpteo, there was an issue with the design files, apparently, with the design files we submitted. The graphics on the bottom, basically the Sayre Brothers Games logo, branding on the very bottom of the PentaHex unit was not attached or had become detached from the file. Now, whether that happened when Tinkercad was communicating the files to Sculpteo, or if it's something I forgot to group and attach, I'm not sure, but they discovered that before they printed it, which means they have a very successful QA, QC, quality assurance, quality control program, and they contacted me saying they discovered this, they had made a fix, they were able to make a fix, and they uploaded to a private location on their servers the corrected files, and would I please go look at them and approve them or deny them, whatever way I wanted to go. And they were fine. They did a good job. I approved them, and the order was ready to go again. So we will unbox these in a second. Going to wait for one of my brothers, Michael, to come, and we'll do the unboxing on a different video and talk about the new generation, the new iteration, prototype 3 of the PentaHex board units. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about working with Sculpteo and versus Shapeways, and also working with a new vendor, a second new vendor, not only Sculpteo, but Ponoko. Ponoko is a maker service company. They work with makers all over the world to, in 1 second, Michael is here. I'm going to pause the video. The second new service we used is Ponoko. And Ponoko is a company that's been around for a while, actually. They're one of the first companies to offer distributed manufacturing to makers. They focus on laser cutting. They also do offer some 3D printing, but we wanted to use Ponoko to do laser cutting of a couple of our game pieces, basically our 2 atomic game piece shapes, because 3D printing them is terribly expensive. A single unit or 2 or half a dozen units is really not that expensive, but we wanted to have 100 or so of them to use as we were testing out prototype 3 of the PentaHex board unit. So we submitted our design files for 2 of the atomic game pieces to Ponoko, and that worked quite well. They actually had a question about the size of the pieces, and they contacted us before they submitted the job, so they were very responsive, and they had pretty good QA, QC as well. The final game pieces will be 1/8 inch thick each. When you work through Ponoko or other laser cutting services, you are limited in materials in terms of the thickness of the material, depending on what they offer in stock. And I believe what we picked was a 3mm thickness, where technically you would need 3.2, 3.18 to be exactly 1/8 of an inch, but 3.2 would be the desirable thickness, and these are going to be 3mm thick. But that's okay for testing purposes. Besides, the final game pieces will be mass produced through, we're guessing, plastic injection molding. We'll get the exact dimensions we need, X, Y, and Z dimensions. We probably will not be laser cutting them because that would be, again, too expensive. Although laser cutting 100 or so game pieces is a lot cheaper than 3D printing the game pieces, but then plastic injection molding is a lot cheaper per unit than laser printing. That is, when you're printing tens or hundreds of thousands of pieces, there's quite a big setup cost for the plastic injection mold. So that is something to take into consideration. Anyway, the little packaging is kind of fun. Yay. And what we're going to do now is actually unbox these and look at our next generation of PentaHex units and some of the game pieces.